I think it was probably in quite a good place because when we first met, I felt I was sort of in this space already and not quite knowing where to go with it. And so it was a chance meeting really with somebody that had been doing, I think he was taking sabbatical or something, doing research around how you bring sort of groups of people together to discuss some of these things. And he happened to mention u.lab, and I said, oh, what's that? So I delved into it in a wee bit more detail, did the sort of intro session and thought, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So that's sort of how it came about. So I think I was thinking and feeling that way anyway, and it just seemed to kind of come together. Yeah, I think there's a sense of frustration. You feel like there's a lot of things you would like to change and be involved in, you know, in the kind of community and society around you. For me, there's a sense of frustration and not quite knowing how to go about that sometimes. So I know what I can sort of do within my own sphere of influence, but I think it's probably looking beyond that and thinking, well, why are we disconnected over here, and why does this part not speak to this part? So when I was looking for something, it's probably a community, if you like, or a kind of group of people that perhaps think a bit similarly and, you know, see some of these links and we can help each other. I think I've taken part in most things. The social presencing piece was probably a wee bit more touchy-feely for me than I wasn't in a room doing shapes and things like that, but I understood why and understood this, you know, the sort of reasoning for that. Maybe if I'd been involved in the hubs, that might have been easier to participate in. But have been through, you know, all the video content. We've done, as I say, the sort of case clinics and all these sorts of things. So I've been quite active in it. I would say for me it moved along at a quicker pace than I could manage, and I didn't want to gloss over things just for the sake of keeping up week by week. So I was quite happy after we'd met, funnily enough, you said, well, do it at your pace. I thought, fine, you know, if the content's there, I'm not trying to get a certificate or anything. I'm quite happy just to do it at a pace that I can manage and get the most out of it. And I think that's been good. So some sessions have maybe taken a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. And it's been good to take the time to actually think on that, to reflect on it a little bit and put some of it into practice properly, rather than jumping ahead too quickly and maybe missing some of the learning.
And so you said that you were taking part in a splinter group.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Yeah.
So how did you go about?
Really just somebody who recognised my name that I'd met before on the distribution list and had said, hey, I'm doing this too, you want to, you know, get involved? I can't make, I think it was Monday evenings, and I said, well, actually neither can I. So we've tried to get together most Friday mornings and just, you know, talk through some of where we're at, what we're finding, where there's been exercises to sort of practice, then we've done some of that too. And it's been really helpful because it's, you know, folk in a similar sort of space, and I think the other people that I've been involved with there kind of are coming at it from the same angle. You know, they want to do it, but they don't want to rush through and not feel that they've captured it all.
Get up to the crystallising part.
I think I've just completed that, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. And do you feel, so do you mean in terms of you've gone through that material, or do you feel you're actually at the crystallising point?
I think both, yeah. I think so. A lot of it, so around, as I say, sort of thinking about doing some, you know, research, people beginning to pop up, opportunities beginning to pop up. These things aren't by accident, I don't ever think, and it's all been quite timely, really. So yeah, I think I'm both, you know, not just at that point in the course material, but actually at that point myself.
Right, okay.
Probably the space that I'm at, you know, you begin to look at things perhaps a bit differently. You begin to look outwards and think, actually, I wonder if I could do, you know, something over here, or I could go and speak to this person. I wouldn't maybe have thought of that. So I've found myself thinking about doing some research, particularly picking up with colleagues at universities who I've known for, you know, quite a while, but having a very different conversation with them about that. So that's been quite interesting from my point of view. These things have always been there, but it's until I've started thinking about that and asking, you know, different questions that I'm getting different results back. It's hard to know at which stage exactly. It would be in the last month really, but this sudden thought that actually I've got a real opportunity to dive into this in a much bigger way that is personally challenging, but, you know, professionally fulfilling as well. And so that's been on my mind, because I would sort of think that a lot of this approach is likely to be less, being generalised, it's likely to be less used in a sort of hard-nosed sort of corporate environment, and that really interests me. There's something in and around that where, you know, how do you make that sort of thing accessible and relevant to people, to enable actually, us to get different outcomes. And some of that is looking at, I don't know what it's looking at, but that's what I'm kind of looking into just now.
Right, okay.
I'm thinking about all kinds of different things. So I'm thinking about, as I say, the role of sort of individual change within people. There's going to be a bit of that. But then there's also all the sort of different sort of cultural dynamics within organisations and different generational leadership styles and traits. And, you could argue that's a bit general, but, you do see some of that. I mean, I had a session the other day with, school pupils, 5th and 6th year, asking them what they thought the future of work should look and feel like. And it was very much feel that I got back. It was very much around, we want to feel supported, we want to feel valued, we want to feel, motivated. We want, it wasn't, I want to make lots of money and I want to, do this and I want this title. It was about, I want to feel like you care about me and that, I can have fun, I can, get involved in things and all of that. And, that's probably not unusual to hear, but if I sat with the same group of people, 40 years older, I think I'd get a different reply. What does the future of work look like? I'm not sure it would be that. And that somehow collides and is already happening within organisations, of all sizes and shapes. And that feels to be quite an interesting kind of case study for me. How do you put all of that together, think about, where we are, as a society, and all the rest of it, and what is it that's going to be the piece that shifts people? Maybe it is something like this, but there has to be that role of individual sort of realisation and change, I think, for any of that to happen. And how do you do that if people aren't predisposed to it? I think there is something in around all of this, and that there is a great comfort in knowing that there's a huge community of people who think and feel similarly. And for Otto and the team there to be kind of really distilling down the key factors that are producing these same sort of results or same, not solutions to age-old problems, that has been really energising, strangely enough, for me. I've found that really valuable because I think, that's exactly what I think and feel. Maybe not all of it, but, there's a huge amount in there that has really just reaffirmed things for me, and I found that to be a really useful exercise because I think actually, I'm not a way out on my own over here and thinking that way and feeling a bit, ill at ease with it. I actually feel quite reaffirmed and think, well, actually, no, I'm going to go and ask some of those questions. And the stakeholder interviews were a good example of that, where, I've got a huge group of stakeholders and I continually check in to see, how are we doing, what are we doing, could we do, but just changing some of how I ask that. And one of the simple ones that I think was given was, what is it you're trying to achieve and what's my contribution? I thought was really, quite an interesting question. So I asked them that, and it gave me slightly different responses. So,
in a helpful way.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, generally in a helpful way. Yeah. Nobody said, just forget it. Stop what you're doing right now. But it was helpful because again, you know what you know, and even watching the video, I had a wee private chuckle because I thought, I know what my clients think anyway. I know what my stakeholders think anyway. But by asking slightly different variations of the same thing, it can produce different results. So I think that's been quite valuable for me. It has prompted slightly different thinking. We're doing a bit of a refresh of our board, for example, as people naturally come to the end of a term, and it's given rise to different thinking around the composition of that, for example. That's maybe a practical one. And some of the talents that we might not have previously considered, and I'm thinking that'd be really good to do. I did do, as I say, I was with a group of young people on Friday, and I did do a session with them around, what will the future of work look like in 2040 or something. We picked just as a kind of number that was far enough out to make them hopefully think a wee bit differently. I might not have done that previously. I might have done, I don't know. It just felt like a really opportune time to do something like that, rather than talk about the skills you need for work today, which would probably have been the sort of thing to do in the past. It was, what are the skills we need for the future, and what are the kind of capabilities and attributes that not just our industry would be looking for, but just generally out there. What is it that you value? What's important to you? So it was probably asking that question in a completely different way, and again, it might have produced a different result to usual stuff like teamwork and communication skills and all that. Everybody knows that. You know, we're not learning anything new by asking that stuff. So that was maybe a very tiny example. But because I've seen so many different contributors, whether it's you know, lecturers or whatever else, there's a number of things that have sort of stuck out at me that think, you know, there's so many people that think and feel this way, and that's been really good for me, I think. The example, lady at the World Bank, you know, formerly there, and I just, you know, that was really valuable, I thought. I think these sorts of insights into people in all sorts of different spheres of, you know, wherever they operate, they're kind of coming from the same place. And that's been quite interesting. Separately, I think I've mentioned before, I'm part of a kind of philosophy class, and it's very much practical application of, but its beauty for me is really reflecting on, you know, where we currently are, you know, what's gone before. There's really nothing particularly new under the sun. You know, there's different ways of asking that, and it's been a really valuable experience. It allows, as does this, to maybe separate a bit out from, you know, we're in this and we're going round and round, to actually think, well, no, you know, you don't have to be a part of that. You can think a bit differently. You can, you know, choose your own route, find other people that are, you know, in a similar space. I think all of that has, you know, kind of come together at a very good time for me. Personally, I know that they said, you know, get out and meet people, get out and do things, don't just watch videos. I really value the videos, so it's not to underestimate the power of them. For me, they were really, you know, affirming. Just spending 10 minutes or 15 or whatever, which has then got me back into things like looking at sort of TED Talks and things, which I used to do, probably got out of the habit of, and it's not every day, but doing these sorts of things on a regular basis, you know, sort of tops that up and gets you thinking about it. And I'm trying to pick things that I wouldn't normally have picked either, to think, actually, I must find out a bit about, you know, that subject. So that's been quite good. I can't think there's anything obvious that sort of jumps out at me, but that's one that I think, you know, there's a lot of value in that, and it's been good because it's, you know, it's easy, it's accessible, you can do it when you want on whatever device you want, and that for me, as much as getting together, probably more so than getting together with a group, and it's not to do them a disservice, that's been a lot of where the value has been. It's not to say I won't do it the next time round and get a wee bit more actively involved in the kind of community of people that are, you know, coming to hubs and things like that. But this has felt like the right way to do it for the here and now.